Okay, let's explore the ancient practice called Seva. S-E-V-A in English letters, Seva. It transliterates into English as selfless service. You're going to be doing some activity every day at the ashram. It was after lunch, 2.5 to 3 hours. And it was one of the parts of a daily schedule, which started at 3:30 a.m. every day, the daily schedule, starting with a morning arati, where you wave lights and you sing a devotional Sanskrit chant, inviting in grace. It starts there with the morning arati at 3:30 a.m. And then throughout the day, there's just a continual flow of various practices of chanting and meditation and learning ancient texts, and even how you would have tea or have your meals was all considered to be part of your sadhana. Sadhana is a Sanskrit word referring to your spiritual practices. Your spiritual life is your sadhana. And it was made very clear to us that it was all optional. You didn't have to do any of it. You could enter into the schedule anywhere you wanted. You didn't have to start at 3:30 a.m. If you would rather, jump in to the schedule at 7 a.m. or 9, you could join in wherever you like. And kind of like a river, that's the metaphor that's coming to me in this moment. We were invited to jump into the daily schedule river wherever we liked each day. All of it was optional. And the part of the schedule that we're exploring here in this moment is in the afternoon, right after lunch, where you would be invited into Seva, selfless service. And they explained to us in our orientation that this was a practice that had been handed down for thousands of years as a way to let whatever work you do be considered to also be sadhana, your spiritual practice, where you let whatever it is you're doing be done non-egoically, selflessly, where you're letting it be an offering to the community, to the wholeness of this sacred place, where you're helping the place function and operate and keep the costs down, and everyone's pitching in and helping out. The community aspect of Seva, where you're being available to the we aspect of reality rather than the me aspect of reality. Our wanter is me-oriented, and our true nature is we-oriented, where we're caring about the entire community. That doesn't leave us out either. When we're in the we, that also includes us. When we're in our wanter, we're only doing it for our own self. We're not caring about others. So in the practice of Seva, which transliterates into English as selfless service, that's the invitation. So I was so inspired by this. I could see how this could translate and help me learn how to let all activities be done as Seva. Selflessly, non-egoically, non-wantery. So, my first day, it was after lunch, and I realized, it's time for Seva. So I was going to walk over to the building where they said you go to sign up for Seva. And I was walking by the temple, and I saw that there were people already in there with these soft cloths, that they were wiping down all the beautiful murtis, the marble, columns and all the things, and in the nice air-conditioned temple. And yes, I'll do temple seva. Yes, because I love to be in the temple. That's where I go to meditate and chant and connect into my true self. Yes, that will give me even more time to be in the temple. Yes, I'll sign up for temple seva. So I walk over to the other building to let them know that I'll sign up for Temple Seva. And so, so as I approach the table, the person there greets me and welcomes me with a big smile and kindness and gentleness and says to me, "Oh, are you here to sign up for Seva?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely." And right when I was going to tell her how willing and available I was to do Temple Seva, I didn't even get a chance to say anything. She reached in to a box and pulled out a card. And as she's doing this, I said, "Oh, what's that?" She said, "Oh, this will be your Seva assignment." "Oh, we don't get to choose our Seva?" I said. And she said, oh, she giggled and she said, "Oh no, we assign you a Seva. That's all coordinated, and we, invite you, if you're willing, to do this Seva. Would you be willing to sign up for this?" I said, "Oh, okay, sure." But there was a part of me that was a bit disappointed that I didn't get to choose my Seva. I wanted Temple Seva. That's where I go to get, my connection to the sacred is inside the temple. I want to do Temple Seva. So I realized, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm willing to roll with this. We'll see how this goes. So she hands me my card. And my card says on it, housekeeping. And I said, "Oh, housekeeping. What's that?" And she said, "Oh, well, if you go over to the other building called Anugraha and go down in the basement, there'll be a person down there waiting for you to greet you and orient you to what part of the housekeeping you'll be doing." "Oh, okay, thank you." And so I leave, and I'm holding my card that says housekeeping on it. And during my walk, I'm wondering, okay, what could housekeeping be? Let's see, it might be vacuuming, cleaning floors, sweeping, mopping. I was imagining all the things that housekeeping could be. And then as I arrive in the building and I go down into the basement, I see a man standing there by a supply cabinet, and I see a woman standing there with him. And you can tell they're waiting for me to arrive. They've, been waiting. I was a little bit late. And as I walk up, he says hello and tells me his name, and she says hello and tells me her name. And he says, "Welcome. So glad you're here. I'm so grateful that you're willing to do this Seva." And he looked at both of us and he said, "I just want to let both of you know that the two of you have been given the most powerful Seva that there is. The two of you will be cleaning toilets." No. Inside, I didn't say it out loud, but inside, no. Okay, first of all, I don't even like public restrooms to begin with. Let alone be responsible for cleaning toilets. Okay. There was a part of me that wanted to run as fast as I could. I don't want to do this Seva. I was fine doing Temple Seva, the nice, sacred, air-conditioned, nice, clean, beautiful temple. I'm not interested in toilet Seva. And he goes on to explain more of the details. And I could see the look on her face as well. She was, well, I can't say for sure what she was experiencing, but it seemed like she was less thrilled about it as well. So he explains to us that we will first chant a mantra in Sanskrit, and he handed each of us a card. He said, "Here's a card with the words of the chant in case you don't know the chant. And we'll chant this, and we'll be inviting in grace to help us as best as we can to not get pulled in to that part of us that would resist, that would want it to be not occurring, would want to be somewhere else. And be aligned with the true spirit of Seva, selfless service, offering it to the community, to be of service to each other, to help the ashram to operate and function. And that this translates to our life, that this can be a way for us to learn how to let all of our activities be a way of connecting us to our heart essence that offers selflessly our activities into the world. So I could very much feel the invitation of this and really wanted to be in the spirit of it. So we chanted the opening mantra, and I'm holding my card and looking at the words and chanting it, and very beautiful, very simple, sweet melody. And we invited in Grace, and we asked to please, for support, that we could stay in the true spirit of Seva. Let this be an offering to Grace, to the community, in the most pure and beneficial way. And we completed that, and then he oriented, us on the supplies and the buckets and the brushes and the rubber gloves and all the things, and explained to us all the different buildings, because there were many different buildings on this, kind of like a college campus. Think of a college campus for a moment, with a lot of buildings and, distances between the buildings and all of that you go to all the buildings. And he said, Mitch, you'll be doing all of the men's restrooms in all of the buildings. And he said to her, you'll be doing all of the ladies in all of the buildings. And we had 3 hours to do all of this. And he thanked us for our willingness to do this seva. And then we began our seva. When I walked into the bathroom on that lower level in the basement to begin, I opened up the door of the first stall, and I was really trying to be in the spirit of Seva, selfless service. And I sort of was in the spirit of it, not really. But I was trying to, consider everything that is the spirit of Seva. And then I opened the door for the second stall, and I'm still, trying to get in the spirit of it. And then I opened up the door for the third stall, and oh no, I don't even want to go into this stall. I don't even want to approach this toilet, let alone be responsible for cleaning it. No. So thus began my torturous relationship with toilet Seva. From that moment on, every toilet was just, drudgery and a burden and unfair. And I've paid to come to this place, and now they've got me, working here for free. Not only for free, but I paid to come. All these thoughts and just pulled in and hating it, stall after stall. And then you got to go to another building and, walk in the, 98 degrees and 92% humidity or whatever. And you're all sweaty and hot, and you're carrying your supplies, and you're cleaning toilet after toilet after toilet, building after building after building. So I would just try to get through it as quick as possible, then wash up, and then get over to the building where the temple was. Go in the shoe room, take off my shoes, go into the temple as quickly as possible, where I can get in there and connect to the sacred, because the temple is where you connect to the sacred. This toilet thing they got me doing is totally sidetracking my spiritual, awakening journey here, day after day after day. So the whole first summer that I was there, I didn't have a single breakthrough. Every day that I did toilet seva, day after day after day, I didn't have a single breakthrough at all. I just kept trying to get through it as quick as possible and get to the temple where I can connect to the sacredness. Now, I'm now on the airplane, flying to the airplane for the second summer at the ashram. I'm fast forwarding in our story here. And the whole plane ride, flying to the ashram, that second summer, I'm calling to Grace and saying, "Dear Divine Grace, can I please have a different seva? I've done my time cleaning toilets. Let's let somebody else have that," in air quotes, most powerful seva that there is, because it clearly didn't do me any good. Please, can I have a different seva? Well, I arrive at the ashram. I go to get my seva assignment, and once again, I'm assigned to the toilet cleaning seva. No, not again. So that whole summer, not a single breakthrough. Just hated it, tried to get through it as quickly as possible, and then went always right to the temple afterwards and would go in to the sacred place called the temple. Now I'm on the plane ride flying to the ashram for the third summer. "Dear Divine Grace, please, can I have a different seva? I've done 2 summers of toilet seva. Can I please have a different seva? Please, please, please." I arrive at the ashram. I go to get my seva assignment, and I'm once again assigned to do toilet seva. Unbelievable. I start asking around, veterans and people that are on staff. Is it normal for someone to keep getting the same seva? And all the veterans would say, "Oh, no, they always mix up the seva assignments so that you get all kinds of experience and variety with the different types of seva." And they would say, why are you asking? I said, "Well, I keep getting the same seva." And they would ask, "Well, what seva do you keep getting?" And I would say, "Toilets." They would, giggle or try not to laugh. And they would say, "Oh, so you're saying you keep getting toilet seva? How's that going for you?" Terrible, I would say. I'm totally hating it, resisting it, wanting to be, is there somebody I could talk to get a different seva? And they would say, "Oh, well, no, your seva is your seva. Maybe there's something for you to consider here, that it keeps happening, because this is not normal to keep getting the same seva." So, after all of my research, it's seva time, and we chant the opening mantra, and I go into the first bathroom, and as I'm walking into the first stall, I can hear my inner cynic. And it actually came out of my mouth. I could hear my cynic upset about this, that once again, a whole nother summer of this. And I can hear that voice, and the words that came out of my mouth as I was approaching the first stall to open up the door for the first stall, I actually said it out loud. I said, "This place has got me cleaning the throne." And I can't explain it, but when the word throne came out of my mouth with such intensity, it was as if some sort of membrane of consciousness gave way, popped, like as thin as a soap bubble, and it just popped. And as soon as it released, I realized that all of my suffering was created in my own mind, that there was the sacred place called the temple, where I go to get my connection to the sacred, and then there was the not sacred called the toilets. Something released in that moment, and I realized it was just a belief. It was as simple as that. I was believing that there was the sacred and the not sacred, the temple and the toilets, sacred and not sacred. In that moment, I realized I was cleaning the throne. I am cleaning the throne for Shiva. Everyone is a unique expression of divine source essence, Shiva. And I am cleaning the throne for Shiva. This is the temple. It was bliss. It was amazing. I was so honored to get to clean Shiva's throne. It was amazing. It was pure bliss. It was completely selfless. Previously, I had been doing it very selfishly. Just get me through this as quick as possible. Now I was in no rush. It was a different pace, and I was just so honored to clean each throne one by one by one, so thoroughly, cleaning it for Shiva, divine expressions of source essence, one after the other after the other. It was amazing how grateful I felt to get to be cleaning the throne, and that there was no longer temple and not temple. It was all the temple. Bathroom after bathroom, building after building. Next thing I know, the final toilet was complete. And I sat back and just was so grateful and realized what he had said that first summer, the person that oriented us and said, we had been so lucky to get the most powerful Seva there is. I realized he was right. Because it is one of the ones that you would most resist. That's what he was referring to. Anything that you would really resist, that you wouldn't want to have to do, can be a very powerful Seva. To have a huge breakthrough and realize that I had created a construct of sacred and not sacred that wasn't actually real. It was all made up in my mind. Now I'm putting the supplies away in the cabinet, and everywhere I walk, every hallway, every building, every person, every wall, every floor, every ceiling, everything is an expression of Shiva, source, energy, essence, permeating all reality. Next thing I know, I'm actually in the building where the temple is. You know, air quotes, the temple. I'm already in the temple everywhere I go. I just started cracking up. Oh my goodness. There it is. That's what I would always rush to and feel that I had to be in there to connect to the sacred, and realized everywhere we can connect to the sacred because it's all the sacred. The sacred is here everywhere we go, within everyone and everything. So I was in the shoe room, and so I took off my shoes, and I realized my shoes are sacred. The rack that you put your shoes in the shoe room is sacred. The hallway leading to the temple from the shoe room is sacred. And I'm walking at a completely different pace. I'm in no rush because I'm already in the temple. Then I notice the plaque that's on the outside of the temple. It had always been there. I had never stopped and read the words on the plaque outside of the temple because I was always in such a rush to get into the temple to connect to the sacred. Now in this new perspective, this true perspective that everywhere is the temple, I actually stopped and read what was on the plaque. It had been there all along. I had never stopped to read it. And this is what I remember reading that day. I don't know if I'll have the exact wording, but it's pretty close, if not exact, but very close. A temple is a sacred place in which you can so fully, directly experience your true nature that you will come to the natural realization that all the world is the temple. A temple is a sacred place in which you can so fully, directly experience your true nature that you will come to the natural realization that all the world is the temple. It was there all along. I had never stopped to read it. And today was the day that I could actually understand it. Even if I had read it before, it wouldn't have made sense. My mind would have conceptualized it. We can only truly know from our direct experience. That day in that first toilet, when the word throne came out of me, it popped the soap bubble of illusion that there was temple and not temple. I had directly experienced that all the world is the temple. Oh my goodness. And then every day after that, I felt so honored that I got to clean the thrones, Shiva's thrones. So now let's fast forward to being on the airplane, flying to the ashram for the 4th summer. I'm not calling to Grace, asking for a new Seva assignment. It's not even in my awareness. And I arrive. I go to get my toilet Seva assignment because that's my Seva. And she hands me a card and I notice it doesn't say housekeeping on it. And I looked closely, I just glanced at it and then I looked more closely to see what did it actually say on the card. And it said, temple. Oh, really? Unbeknownst to me in that moment, I had gotten pulled into a different kind of construct of the mind. It was a construct of my mind that was, if I try to give it words, something along the lines of, oh, well, I guess I've graduated from toilet Seva. I wasn't aware at the time, but I had gotten pulled into some sort of, specialness construct like that I had done so well with my toilet Seva that I had now graduated from toilet Seva because I would never get pulled in ever again to that kind of construct. Well, wait till you hear what happened next. Oh my goodness. So, as I'm walking over to the building where the temple is, because I'm holding the card that says Temple Seva, I'm all excited. Wow, I'm going to be doing Temple Seva. Wow, this is amazing. So I go into the shoe room, take off my shoes to go into the temple to, be available to Temple Seva. And as I'm taking off my shoes, I hear this deep, deep voice way down deep in my heart chakra. And I heard, you don't really think you're going to get to do Temple Seva, do you? Uh-oh. What was that? I looked carefully at my card to make sure that I didn't misread it. It says temple on it. I see the T, the E, the M, the P, the L, the E. It says temple. Oh boy, what's this going to be? So I very tentatively now walk in and there's a whole group of people and there's a person you could tell is the Temple Seva coordinator and everybody's standing there facing toward her. And so I join the group of people and we're all standing side by side facing toward where she is. And there's 12 of us. I noticed that there's 12 of us all standing, shoulder to shoulder facing toward her. And then she says, okay, welcome everybody. And thank you so much for being willing to do Temple Seva. She said, first, let me count everybody. So she starts at the left, to her left, and she starts counting all of us. And so she points at each one of us and she says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then she points at me, 8. I was number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. She said, okay, those of you that are numbers 1 through 6, you'll be inside the temple. And those of you that are 7 through 12, you'll be outside. Oh, no, not again. No. Here I am in the temple and I don't get to do Temple Seva. I got pulled back in to the construct that there was temple and not temple. So we did our opening mantra, which I don't even remember doing because I was just so pulled back into this whole thing. And we go outside, and then there's another person at a cabinet out there orienting us to what we'll be doing out there. And it turns out, outside of the temple, there's a tile walkway that goes all around the perimeter of the temple. And there's these windows where you can see inside the temple from outside the temple. And they're all in there with their soft cloths, doing the, dusting the mortis and all of things in the nice air condition. We're outside, 98 degrees, 95% humidity. And our seva is this tile walkway. And our coordinator says, if you look up, you'll see the rafters in this overhang area that provides shading for the outside of the temple when you walk around the temple on this tile walkway. And birds fly up into the rafters and they poop on the tile floor. Your seva will be to clean the bird poop off of the tile walkway outside of the temple. No. And we are instructed to put on these full body aprons, rubber aprons, and boots, gloves, goggles. There's wash buckets, squeegees, scrub brushes, hoses. Sometimes somebody sprays and the water squirts up on the back of your legs, and there's bird poop all over your back of your legs. Oh, and it's, hot and humid and you're sweaty. And the whole time you're looking in through the windows at them in the nice air-conditioned temple with their soft dusting cloths. No. Unbelievable. I'm pulled back into the construct that there's temple and not temple. So this time, it only took 3 days for the breakthrough, not 3 years. On the third day, when we went outside to clean the bird poop off of the tile walkway, all of a sudden, as I was looking at this beautiful tile walkway and how exquisite it was, I realized in that moment as I looked at the beautiful tile walkway that this is where Shiva walks. I get to clean the tile walkway, and this also is the temple. The breakthrough happened again, and I was released from the suffering of my mind, and I realized there's only the temple. It was amazing, the honor of getting to clean the tile walkway where Shiva walks. So then we come in the next day for our seva, and I'm so excited to go clean Shiva's tile walkway. And as we're about to go outside, those of us that had been outside, she says, wait, hold on now. Those of you that have been outside, today I'm going to switch it up, and you all will come inside. And then she looks at the ones that had been inside. She said, those of you that have been inside, you'll now be outside. And right in that moment, there was such a feeling inside of me of wishing, please, divine grace, please shower them with blessings. Those that are now going to go outside, if in any way they get caught in this suffering that I was caught in, please shower them with blessings so that they too can have this amazing breakthrough that can happen from this beautiful practice called Seva, selfless service. Please shower them with blessings and let them have the same breakthrough. And from that day on, I never did get the same seva assignments. I always got unique seva assignments. And there were many moments where I would be out on a walk and I would see that the tile walkway on the outside of the temple was, had bird poop on it. And even though it wasn't my seva, I would go to the cabinet and I would clean the bird poop off of the walkway. Many times that I would see a toilet needed attention, one of the thrones, and I would go to the cabinet and clean the toilets, even though it wasn't my seva. And then as the years went on, there were other sevas that they always needed way more help than the 3 hours of every day, like laundry seva as an example, or washing dishes or things like that. They always needed more help. And so there would be times where it wasn't even Seva time, the time of the schedule that was Seva time. And I would just get the knowing to go help out in the laundry room or go volunteer to wash dishes, especially the big pots and pans. They always needed people to help wash the big pots and pans. So I just felt so grateful to the practice of Seva and felt so honored that I get to offer up my services to this beautiful place called the ashram, where I have received so much. I felt so good, and it felt so wonderful to get to be a part of this community where we gathered together and were invited to consider that every activity that we ever are involved with in any way in our lived human lives can be seva, an offering from our heart. We can be selfless rather than selfish. Woo-hoo!